Hey friend, thanks for stopping by. I'm so happy to see you. This is a very busy week for me. I am heading out to one of the local farmers to see if he has any peppers. One of our bigger markets is opening this week, so I can't wait to go check that out and see what they have available. I am making a run to the city with the mister. I am putting as many seeds as I can in the ground, and I am continuing with our preservation projects, of course. Welcome to all my new subscribers. I am so excited you've decided to join us. My name is Elena and I am mini steading in the desert of New Mexico on 1,600 square feet. Right now, we are working on different preservation projects. We're trying to preserve something every day, even a little bit. This is part of the Every Bit Counts challenge from Three Rivers Homestead. If you want to go check her out, I'll leave a link to her channel here for you to see. So let's just jump right into all this preservation. Hey guys, it is day 7 and what am I doing? I finished this bottle of my homemade vanilla, and I thought that instead of throwing away the pods or putting them in another jar of vanilla, that I would get the beans out and make vanilla sugar. What I think I did wrong is, well, I don't know if wrong, but I decided they were so wet and I was nervous about putting them in the sugar as moist as they were, so I left them out to dry, and that may not have been the best thing because now it's more like they're more like powder than the individual beans. I don't know that that's a bad thing, but I am putting them in the sugar anyway. And by the way, I am using white sugar instead of my usual raw sugar, and that's because I figured that the flavor would be more vanilla-y, because brown or raw sugar, not only is it browner than white sugar, but it has a flavor of its own, and I wanted the beans to show up. So I'm not 100% sure how this is going to turn out, but I'm going to put all of the beans in here and just work them in. And I like the way it looks already. I like the little flecks of vanilla bean that you can see. And why am I doing this? Because I was thinking, I use a lot of vanilla. I like it in my coffee. I like it in my tea. And I thought, what if I used vanilla sugar in my coffee? Not necessarily vanilla. Or what if I sweetened my tea, the teas that I do sweeten, I don't sweeten all my teas, with vanilla sugar? What if I sprinkled vanilla sugar on, say, my blueberry muffins when I bake them? All those things. And I'm smelling the beans because I was thinking of putting the beans in here also. But I've also wanted to grab a bean or two out of here, or a pod, and get some of the beans out of that, just in case. Just in case the dried ones. Oh, this smells so good. This vanilla I love. I made it with spiced rum. I don't always do spiced rum. I've done it with bourbon, but spiced rum is my favorite. And I'm going to use that I'm going to see if I can pour some of that in here stir it around and get these beans, because what a waste, huh, to have these beans just left in here. Okay, so let's see what we can do. This one is not cut. Hold on. Let's see if we can slice this one. Oh, there we go. Of course, see that? I'm hoping that that's okay to put it in as moist as it is. I'm also going to put these pods in there. Okay, and I'm going to keep mixing, and I'm going to come back when I have it well incorporated and show it to you. Okay, so it was definitely harder, and there are still some clumps. Definitely harder to break it up when it was that wet. So there's probably a happy medium, maybe not leaving it out overnight, but maybe just for an hour or two, and that's what I will do next time. But I haven't tasted it, but it does smell very vanilla-y. I don't think there'll be much of a taste yet, but what I am going to do is put these vanilla pods in here and cover them with sugar. And definitely you have to leave this for a little bit, maybe 2 weeks, to get the flavor infused into the sugar. Ooh, it looks pretty though. So that is what I'm going to do with this. Oh, I need a cover. And does this fit? Yes. So that is what I'm going to do with this. I'm just going to put it on the shelf and let it sit there for about 2 weeks. Oops, out of frame. And then I will let you guys know how it turned out and how it tasted in my coffee or my tea. See you guys tomorrow for day 8. Hey you guys, it is 10 o'clock, or yep, 4 minutes to 10, and I decided to get a jump on tomorrow's project, which is canning these drumsticks. They were mostly thawed, and I don't have room for them in my fridge, so, and I couldn't leave them out all night, so I decided to go ahead and can them. This is one of the easiest things that you can can. So each one of these jars has 5 drumsticks, and so that makes 30 drumsticks that I'm canning here in these 6 quarts. So they're going to go into my pressure canner for 75 minutes, and that's it. I'll have some chicken and chicken broth done all at once, which is pretty exciting. So I am going to go ahead and do this, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow when I show you the results. Hello, you guys. It is day 8 of the Every Bit Counts challenge, and I am getting ready to remove the rings and label my drumsticks. This was super easy. I started it last night. I didn't have any room in my refrigerator, so I couldn't put these drumsticks away, so I was kind of forced to do it last night. But look, now we have drumsticks. There's 5 in each jar, and as you can see, there's a nice broth. I probably will use it to make rice when I make the chicken, or I can make a gravy with it, whatever. But it's so easy to do, and it's done. I think I have a tray of drumsticks still in the freezer, so I might can those as well. The freezer is getting emptier and emptier. I'm excited. I still have, let's see, today's the 8th. I still have, oh, almost 3 weeks, most of the month, to continue working at the freezer so that I have room for the quarter cow. But so right now I'm gonna wash these. So what you do after you can is, well, depending on the way things worked in your canner, if there was no spillage or anything like that, you may not need to wash entirely the jars, but I definitely do wipe the rims and the tops. I just want to make sure there's no food residue of any kind that will dry up on my jars. And so that's what I am doing. So as soon as I'm done with this and they're dry, I will label. Alrighty, 6 meals ready to go. All I have to do is make potatoes, make rice, make a salad, steam some veggies, whatever it is I want to do. But the biggest part of the meal is done. This just requires some warming up, and we're good to go. All right, so see you guys tomorrow for day 9. All right, it is day 9. Yep, it is day 9 of the Every Bit Counts challenge, and today I'm doing a really simple preservation project. What I am doing is dehydrating some kale. I've bought this for my chickens in the past, but I will tell you, last year we had so much kale coming out of the garden. We had a bed that was dedicated to just the chickens. From time to time we would let them out and let them go to that bed, and that's where I would get kale from to give them. And I dehydrated a whole bunch of kale so that throughout the winter I could keep giving them greens. Well, this year it didn't work out as well, as you know, so not that much of anything for the chickens in the garden. Oh man, last year there were so many tomatoes. They were in tomatoes, let me tell you, because they love cherry tomatoes. But I wasn't able to do that this year. So this year, what we are doing is so that both we and the kale, so that... Hello, welcome to day 9 of the Every Bit Counts challenge. Today we are doing a super simple preservation project. We are going to dehydrate kale. Last year we had so much kale coming out of the garden. The chickens had their dedicated garden bed where they would get kale from. We would let them out so they could forage in that bed, or we would just bring the kale in from that bed and dehydrate it so that they would have kale all winter long. As you know, that didn't work out this year, and so I bought a couple of bags of this kale, which I have bought for them before, And this is what we're going to be doing. We're going to dehydrate for both the chickens and us. Is this too tall? Let me see. And there's nothing wrong with that. Oh, it's kind of poofy. I'm going to have to take some of it out maybe, or make those pieces a little bit smaller. Any case, we are going to dehydrate this kale, and the chickens will have kale this winter, and we will have kale this winter. So what we do with the kale is either we pulverize it and use it in smoothies. Mainly that's what we do, but I like kale in eggs, so I like to have some kale in scrambled eggs. Or we just make it as greens, as a side dish for dinner. It just depends. So I'm breaking off these big pieces. The chickens like to eat these. Actually, my husband likes to break them up and throw them at the chickens. He likes to spend some time with them in the evening. And if I have given them kale, which I didn't this year, but what I have been giving them is Brussels sprout leaves, and they have a similar stem. They just don't eat it. It's too big for them to eat like that. So they will eat all the leaves and leave the stem, and he will go in and stand there with them and break up the stems into little pieces and throw it, and they will just spend time with him running around after these little bits. Okay, so that is it for today. Really short and sweet. I will come back and show you guys, let you guys know how many trays I got and show you the finished product. We'll see you later. Alright, 1 bag of kale filled up all 5 trays, so that's what we are working with. Let's see. I have another bag that I will do later. This is 1 pound. So a 1 pound bag is what it took to fill this. I'm going to set it to fruits and veggies, which is 115 degrees, 46 degrees Celsius, and we'll let that go. Let's see. Yeah, I can either leave it at 115 or bring it up to 125, but I think I'm going to leave it at 115. Alright, so I will bring you guys back after this is dried so you can see the results. Okay, our kale is done drying. I am going to fill this jar and then put the other bag, partial bag because I gave some to the chickens, put the other bag in to dry. So this pound of kale is barely fitting in this jar. I mean, I am really pushing it down, forcing it to fit. I think it'll fit. So this is a perfect way to have kale year-round on hand, and I use it in pasta sauce. I like it in my scrambled eggs. You can put it in soups. You can do so many different things with it. You can add it to meatloaf. Anything you add it to, you're just adding nutrition to it. And then of course I have some for my chickens. I put it, oops, oh no. I put it into their eggs if I'm giving them eggs, or I just give it to them mixed in with their feed. So yeah, even if you can't grow kale, you can preserve it and have it on hand all year round. Lemon essential oil removes Sharpies. That's how I reuse my jars, my jar covers. And the next batch is ready to go. Hey guys, here are our 2 quarts of kale. I will probably be doing this another 2 times, which will give us 6 quarts. I think that should be enough. See you tomorrow. Hello friend, we are on day 10 of the Every Bit Counts challenge, and today we are doing eggs. I cannot remember the last time I've done this. I mean, I do know that I lived in Virginia. Oh my gosh, it was so long ago. And I lived near a couple of people that had chickens, and oh, those are fond memories. Those chickens, you had to stop and let them cross the road. That's not a joke, it's serious. Is that a shell? Hold on a second. Okay. Yeah, we had a little bridge between my house and the main road. It was like a little back road, and you had to let the chickens cross. Everybody would be backed up. Anyways, I used to get eggs from these people and preserve them like this. And right now I have a lot of eggs. This is, whoops, double yolker. You see that? Okay, so this, I'll go ahead and leave it. This time of year is egg time. I was a little concerned because my chickens are still molting, but from what people say and what I've read, they can molt all spring and summer and not get their new feathers till the fall, going into winter when they're going to need them. Anyways, whoops. I have a lot of eggs. This is one of, let me show you this. This is one of 3 containers that I have with eggs right now. And I need to do something with them. I wish that I lived in an area where I had more neighbors. I would set up a little egg stand, put the eggs in a cooler, in egg cartons, and do a little honor system thing and have people take the eggs. But I don't. How many neighbors do I have here? 1, 2, 3. I think I have 5 or 6 neighbors. 5 neighbors. That would pass my house. 3. On this road before my house, there's probably 3 or 4. So this is a really easy way to preserve eggs. You just scramble them and either salt them or put sugar, and that's just to preserve them a little better. I find that they work better this way. Did I get a shell again? Ugh. So some people just put the egg directly into this mold. This is a silicone muffin tin, by the way. Some people just drop the eggs in there and stir it right in there. I don't think I would stir it well enough if I did it that way. Plus, as you can see, I get shells. So this looks like a double yolker. Nope, just one big egg. If I get a shell, then it's harder to get it out, so I just do it here. So you're going to do this, and then you're going to add either 1/8 of a teaspoon of sugar or 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. And that is a way to preserve the eggs better. Also, you want to make sure you label. That is the one thing I do label, because let me wash these, hold on. because you want to know what you're working with. So if you're baking, for example, you would use your sweet eggs, and if you're making something savory like let's say you want to put fried eggs in fried rice, you would use your salted eggs. So each one of these little spaces, each one holds about 1 egg, and you can see the difference depending on the size of the egg. I will probably put a smaller egg into these ones that are a lot lower, and it's okay if if the recipe calls for an egg and you add 2 small eggs. I don't think it matters. 1 egg is relative, right, depending on the size. So I'm going to continue to do these, and let me just show you. This is a half a teaspoon measuring spoon, and I'm just gonna like put that much, and I will put that in each space and stir it a little bit, and that's it. Then I will cover these with saran wrap, take it to the freezer. And when it is frozen, I will show you guys how I store it. Okay, so that wasn't fun. I forgot I forgot to put my muffin tin in here, because you know how it is when you're moving these silicone things. It's a good idea to have them on a cookie sheet or something like that. Well, I don't have a big enough cookie sheet, so I put it in this basket. And it's an easy way too for me to just pick it up and take it out to the freezer. So my eggs are all in here. What am I trying to do? There you go. And they are all salted and they're ready to go. So once these are frozen, I will take them out and store them, and then I will do another batch. All right, the first batch is frozen. I have a bag that I've labeled salted eggs, and instead of moving on to eggs with sugar, I'm just going to do another batch of salted eggs so I can get this bag filled however many times it takes to fill this bag. Then I will move on to salted eggs. But that is how easy it is to do that. When you're ready to use them, just put them in the fridge the night before, or if you're going to be around, just put them out. If you're going to use them like soon, you can just leave them on the counter and watch them. As soon as they defrost, you can use them. Just add a little milk, stir it up a little bit, however it is you make your scrambled eggs, because that's basically all you can do with it is scrambled eggs. Or if you're going to put it in something that you're baking, and it calls for however many eggs, that's how many you're going to take out. Super simple. So something else I have to work at organizing and emptying is this freezer. This is not the freezer that came with this RV. We had a smaller freezer, but we took it out. Well, it broke, so we took it out and we replaced it with a regular freezer. It's a very small one, but I think we got 2 cubic feet more with this one, and you wouldn't think 2 cubic feet made such a difference, but it made a big difference. So really, I don't know everything that's in this freezer because of the way it's all shoved in here. So one thing that I'm going to take out of here right now is this bag, which has onion scraps, celery scraps, chicken bones. It's time to make some chicken bone broth. This bag is, some more of the same. So I'm going to look through here and see what else I can find to throw in a pot right now to make some bone broth. So this is a good start. I would prefer to do this in my Instant Pot, but I won't because I'm going to be canning it in my Instant Pot. So this is some chicken bones, onion skins. Onion skins is something that I rarely throw away, or the heels of the onions, because it gives a good flavor to the broth. It has its own set of nutrients, of course, but also it gives the bone broth a darker color, and I like that. There's some more. I think there's some zucchini in there. Is that zucchini? I'm not sure why that's in there. I'm going to take that out. I'm not sure I want zucchini in there. And this is just a lot of the same. Bits of onion, onion skins, chicken bone. I'm going to get this all in here, add some water, turn it on the lowest setting because we want it to cook low and slow. It'll take longer than if I had it in the Instant Pot because, oh, do I want to do this? Because this is going to be boiling or simmering on my stove for quite a long time, and I'm going to be hot in here. So, okay, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and grab the Instant Pot. I'll just have to wash it before I use it, or since I have my canner out, because I was canning the chicken, I might just use that. Okay, let's go with the Instant Pot. Okay, so the Instant Pot it is. I will start it out on the saute mode and get it to cook down a little bit first, and then I will cover it and put the pressure on. We're gonna add a splash of apple cider vinegar, and that will help break down the collagen in the connective tissue of these bones. You get the more nutrition you can get from it, the better. So that's it. I'm gonna turn this on and get it started. Bring you guys back maybe halfway through. Okay, this broth has been in the Instant Pot for a little over 4 hours, and I turned it off a little while ago. I like to can my broth in pints, so that's what I'm doing. I'm hoping that I will get about 6 pints, but maybe not. But 4 would be good. Anything that I get is good. You see that color? I love it. The onion peel contributes to that quite a bit. Let's see. So I'm gonna go ahead and just fill these, see how many jars I get, and then we'll come back as I am putting them into the canner. Okay, I got exactly 4 pints. I mean, not a drop more. And look at this color. I can't get over it. So, let's put this in here. So I have the 4 pints in here, and I am going to get it going. 20 minutes, and when it's done I will show you the finished product as usual. Tomorrow is another day of preserving something, so we'll figure out what it is we're going to do tomorrow. I'll see you guys then. Bye. So my tiny little countertop is full. Well, it's actually the countertop and the stove has stuff on it, and this is what I'm going to be working on for the next few days. I went to a local farmer yesterday or 2 days ago and got all these yellow hots. He threw in some of these peppers that I'm not familiar with, and he wasn't either, but he got them free from whoever he gets his seeds from, and he thought he would try them. It's called cow's horn. The hubby tried one and said it's pretty spicy. He also threw in some jalapenos for me, some little ones, and I think that is it for peppers. And the purpose of these peppers is to make hot sauce. I bought some habaneros at the grocery store because he didn't have any, and not so much because I want the heat, but because I want my peppers, my hot sauce to be red. I might end up getting a couple of red bell peppers too, to make sure that that happens. What else? There are some more drumsticks back here, and that is the first thing I'm gonna work on today, because you guys know it's super easy to do canned drumsticks. These two breasts, this is for dinner. Let's see, I found this in my freezer. I couldn't believe it. These are beef bones. I thought I used up all my beef bones from last year when we got our cow, but we didn't. So I'm going to show you guys how I make beef bone broth with these bones. These lemons are for, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if these lemons go in the hot sauce or if they're just for the green enchilada sauce. My local store had some really good sized tomatillos. That's not usually the case, so I took advantage of that, and we picked quite a few of them out. I'm not sure, did I get 2 pounds or 3 pounds? I don't even remember the recipe. I just grabbed some. I just finished putting some eggshells in here. This is what I do for my chickens for calcium. I don't buy oyster shells or anything like that for them. I just mix this in their feed, whatever I'm feeding them, a couple of times a week. And this is almost full, and I have this much because in this bag, this is the bag that I put the eggshells in, break it up, and then move them to the jar. Well, this jar is almost full, so I will have some left over, and I have some more that I am drying out over here on the right. We are getting between 10 and 14 eggs. We got 14 eggs one day. Let's see. I think it was Monday we got 14 eggs. Usually we're getting about a dozen on average. And I am going to look into using this in the garden. I know that it takes a long time for it to break down, but I'm going to see about powdering it. I just have to do a little bit of research before I do that. And the farmer also threw in these 2 zucchini. And I will probably just grate and freeze these. Okay, so let's get, oh, and today's eggs so far with these back here. All right, so let's get started. The first thing I'm going to work on is the chicken, and while that is going, I am going to show you what I do with these bones. I just wanted to take a quick video of this high tunnel, my dream. Something that I don't think I've ever showed you guys is that I do put a little splash of apple cider vinegar into my canner, and the reason for that is sometimes I get a little calcium ring on my jars, and I hate it. It's so hard to get off, and whenever I use those jars again and I see that ring, it makes me think dirty jar. It's not dirty. Yeah, it's just something that happens. Just depends on what kind of minerals you have in your water. So that's why I put the little splash of vinegar. So as far as these bones go, all I do is lay them out on a cookie sheet with parchment paper. I might have to do 2 of them, or twice, which is going to take, oh, I hope not, because in this RV oven there's only 1 shelf, Oh, I think it'll all fit. Let's see. Yeah, it'll all fit. A little snug, but they'll all fit. So I'm just gonna pop these in the oven to roast, and when they're nice and brown and golden, then I will take them out and proceed with the bone broth process. Whoa, there's a lot of these bones look great. We're going to now put them in the Instant Pot. This roasting the bones first will give the broth such a deep, rich umami flavor. Alright, so now that we have the bones in here, we're going to cover this with water. Okay, so my Berkey did not have enough water to fill this, so I just refilled the Berkey, and as soon as that water is filtered, I will fill this up, and then I will turn it on to pressure cook and leave it on for 8 to 10 hours maybe, and see what that looks like. I may want to leave it for longer, but I think that should be about right. Okay, so technically we got 3 jars of chicken with broth, but one of them did not seal. I had a failed seal, so I popped it in the fridge, and I will just use it soon for lunch or dinner. And then the other thing that I consider preservation is this, and I went ahead and filled the jar that has my eggshells for my chickens. And the reason I consider it a form of preservation is, well, we didn't waste the shells, but I consider it eggs. And the reason is because if your chickens don't have enough calcium, they won't lay eggs with strong shells. The shells will break in the coop, and maybe someone will step on it, whatever. Or sometimes you get eggs that see, this egg has a hard shell. Sometimes your eggs will come without a shell, believe it or not. You'll just have like the white sac, the amniotic sac around the egg, but no shell. And that's not a good thing. So for me, preserving my or saving my eggshells and feeding it back to my chickens is a way to ensure that they have enough calcium and that I get eggs from them. All right, so the broth has a little bit to go. I decided to go with 10 hours of pressure canning the broth, not pressure canning, but pressure cooking the bones so that I can get broth. So that will probably be finished later today, and I will bring it to you, show you the progress tomorrow. Good morning, friends. I am back to wrap up the beef bone broth. I was thinking that I might run it through again for a second batch, but nah, I'm gonna pass on that. I'm just gonna wipe these rims. We got 3 full quarts, and I don't usually use quarts for broth, but I ran into an issue where I don't have any lids for wide mouth jars, so I had to use these. And then I only had 2 pint jars with the smaller mouth. So it was, yeah, so I didn't have enough small ones, and then most of my jars are wide mouth. I prefer wide mouth, and I'm just out of lids, so I have to get some lids. So I was forced to do these in quarts, which is fine. I just don't usually use quarts. and then I have to put it in the fridge, and I have a small fridge, so I don't like to do that, have excess stuff just sitting around in the fridge. So what I'll do is just make sure to use it for something big, like I will use it when I make a stew. I may need the whole thing, or if I make soup, I will use the whole thing. So that is what I will do. So let's get the lids on these. All right, so you see this different color right here? That is going to end up being a fat cap, and I like having that. If you don't want to have that when you do your bone broth or any kind of broth, just leave it in the pot to cool down totally, and then this will become solid, and then you can take it off. And that's the easiest way to do it. Or you can do it when it's still hot or warm and just scoop it out, but just lifting off that fat cap, solid fat cap, is the easiest way to do it. I like having it. I think it adds flavor. I think there's nutrition in it, so I leave it. So let's get these in the canner. The other negative thing for me in having to do quarts is that I have to do it on the stovetop because my Instant Pot does not fit quarts. It only fits pints. So we have these three in there. We're going to let this run its cycle, and we'll have 3 more quarts of broth to put in the cupboard. I am not, one of the reasons why I decided against running the bones again another 10 hours is because I have enough of this. I still have quite a bit from last year. Let me check the level of the... Okay, I just wanted to check the water level. I should do that before I put the lid on. You want it to be, I like it to be about 2 inches up the jar at least. So it is, and so that's good. So I'm going to run outside and get the eggs that we put out there yesterday. The sweetened eggs. And let's see if I have room in my fridge here or my freezer. Okay, I do. So I will bring them in. Otherwise, I would have just put them in the bag and out in the shed and put them back in the freezer. But I'm going to bring it in and bag it in here because I do have room to fit it in the freezer inside. Whew, I did not check the temperature today yet, but it is hot out there. I decided to go get some eggs, check on the eggs, and we have 6 so far. I saw one of my one of the cucumbers hanging on the ground, and I decided to get it secured up on the trellis. Gave the chickens a treat. Then I went to the shed to get these eggs. Just that little bit of time, and I am sweating. Okay. So these are sweet eggs. And I am going to go ahead and do 12 more so I can have a full gallon bag of 24. I have room for these in my freezer here. I've been emptying my freezer. Either cooking things or dehydrating them if they can be, just to get them out of the freezer. We made some chicken broth with some bones and vegetables that were in there, all my onion peels, etc. So I'm just working through all my freezers outside and inside. Alright, so yesterday we got, let's see, we did the eggshells and what did we do? Oh, the eggshells and the drumsticks. We started these, but I put them in the bag just now. So I'm going to count this as today's preservation project, as well as the bone broth. Although we started the bone broth yesterday, I am canning it today. So I'm going to call it today's preservation project. And there might be one other thing that I do. Let's see. Alright, I just took this bag of blueberries, frozen blueberries from my freezer, and I am going to put it in the dehydrator and dehydrate them. There's quite a bit of ice in this bag, but I'm doing my best to separate it from the blueberries. I don't want to put too many chunks of ice in here, but it should be okay. I'll just give it a minute, and I just don't want it to melt too much, but as it's separating on its own, I'll just take it apart. Alright, I will get probably do 2 trays of this, and I will show it to you guys after it's dehydrated. Alright. Our bone broth is done. As it cools, the fat will rise to the top. And once it's totally cool, you will be able to see the broth up to about here. Ouch, that's hot. And then about this top inch will be white. And that will be the fat cap. I noticed in the pot that there's a little some fat in there. That means that probably this one right here, because you see how low it is, there was some siphoning that happened. That means that some of the contents comes out. So that happens sometimes, and it doesn't affect the seal or anything, but it's hard to say. So we'll see what happens with these as they cool, if they all seal or not. And I almost forgot to show you the last thing, the blueberries. They came out really nice. They are so sweet. I've just been snacking on them. I need to stop because I think they'll be great to put in granola, or when I am ready to make blueberry muffins or something like that. So yeah, so that is it for this week. Join me next week as we continue preserving through the month of August. I did not come prepared with the proper shoes, so the mister is gonna go cut that big one there for me. It's beautiful.